Greetings from the Pacific Northwest. Bo here. Just hacking around like a hack. Because I have one. I'm not a player, but I have one. Anyhow, what brings us here? Still in the Pacific Northwest, by the way. Haven't done a video in a while. Don't have anything new to show, but was inspired recently to do a top 20 acts of all time. I know I've done some favorite records of all time before, but this time we're going to go top 20 favorite bands, all genres. Some of you guys are going to look at some of these and you're going to go, huh? Bear with me. Honorable mention. We're going to start. Couldn't do 20. I'd do 21. That's where we started with the guitar. Hey, if music's not fun, then why are you bothering? So, I'm a big fan of Mr. Johnny Rivers. And this is, as I was attempting to screw around with on the guitar, just the main part of Secret Agent Man, which is a pretty big hit for Johnny Rivers. Got all his records. Good stuff. Fun. Makes me smile. Makes me laugh. So that's good stuff. So here we go. Start at number 20, and here we go. And it's going to be back to back. People are going to go, click. I'm turning this off. How about the Association? Yeah. So some of you guys are like, the Association. Great harmonizers. But you know what's really great about the Association is that on the albums, the musical group was the Wrecking Crew. Now, these guys could play, and they played live. They did. But in the studio, I believe it was mostly the Wrecking Crew playing for them. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But the reason I picked this album, and it's a little bit different, it's got the track Pandora's Golden Heebie-Jeebies, which is a very good psychedelic track. But I like all their stuff, man. I'm a fan. I like the way they harmonize, the way they play. They're fun, another fun group. I know Dylan at Noble Records recently kind of gave me just a tiny little shot for pop psych. But hey, can't help it. You like what you like, right? Number 19. Where would we be without this guy? Yeah, a little soul. How about some Sam Cooke? This is Ain't That Good News. It's kind of a rougher shape, but it's an original. But of course, it has the important track. A change is going to come. And not to get too political, but how disappointed would Mr. Cooke be the way things are going in this country sometimes. That's okay. We're here for records. I'll smile. Big smile on my face. That was 1918. The Animals. We had kind of two completely different groups for the Animals. The one, the one constant, Mr. Eric Burdon. This is the early Animals. This is Animalization. It's on MGM. I picked this one because it's got my favorite Animals track, CC Rider. Love that song. So, anyhow, the story goes that Mr. Price, the keyboardist, kind of took the majority of the credit and the majority of the royalties for House of the Rising Sun for arranging it when they were all going to take credit for it as a group. Other people say he just didn't want to travel, was afraid to fly, but yet he formed his own combo later. But anyhow, whatever, that's just things I've heard, don't know what the actual truth is. Eric Burdon broke it up, was in San Francisco, and discovered psychedelic music. He came back as Eric Burdon of the New Animals. Sumner, who was later in the Police, was in an incarnation of this. But there was Weeder and a few other guys. Some really good musicians were in this group, and they did a little bit more psychedelic stuff. This has the big hit San Francisco Nights, Anything, which is one of my favorite tracks. Actually, my favorite track from this incarnation of Animals is When I Was Young, but I've only got that on single. I don't know that got a U.S. album release. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But I don't think that was ever on an album outside of maybe a greatest hits. Oh, and this is what happens when you do these top 20 countdowns. You got 20, 19, 18. So is this 17? If the numbers get screwed up, just know that we'll get to number one eventually. This is Fleetwood Mac. This is Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. And this is the era of Fleetwood Mac that I'm a huge fan of. The later incarnation, the more traditional, with the bigger hits, doesn't mean as much to me. But when Peter Green was in the group and these guys were doing some blues, this is a fantastic group. Love that record. So I'm not going to count them down anymore because I don't know. So, hey, I went to school in Shelton, so that explains a lot about my educational background. Mr. Al Green, man, love Al Green. What a voice. And this is Let's Stay Together, which was a big hit for him. I got his first 3 records. I just love putting on some Al Green. kicking back, relaxing. I find it very relaxing music. Next, this is going to be another head scratcher for some of you guys, but he was in the Wrecking Crew. He's one of the best guitar players of all time. This is Mr. Glenn Campbell. We lost him recently. Alzheimer's is a scourge. This has got the big hit "Gentle on My Mind." Probably one of the best guitar players this country has ever produced. And the nice thing about Glenn Campbell records too, they're cheap. After he first passed away, I did notice they weren't in the bargain bins anymore. They were on the regular shelf and they were upticked in price, but they're back down because they're just all over the place. So they're not hard to find. But Glenn Campbell, outstanding, love it. That's one with some terrific BCLT from my friend Hannah, the Omaha introvert, and I could never find this record. She found this for me. This is great. This is Bill Withers, Just As I Am. Love Bill Withers. Kind of soul, kind of funk, kind of folk, kind of a lot of things. And this is Just As I Am with the big hit Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone. So outstanding. Love some Bill Withers. Next is an artist who, and this is a reissue, but not a late. This is an earlier mid-60s reissue on Chess. This is Helen Wolf, and Helen Wolf is just fantastic folk blues player. Got several of his records. This is my favorite album because which was later covered by Cream and a whole bunch of people. Spoonful. But if you just like some, his voice, outstanding. As Bobby would say, who had met this man, by the way, Mr. Chester Burnett. Great stuff, Helen Wolf. A little bit more modern time stuff here. This is the Talking Heads. When I was in high school, this was probably up there. I actually like NXS a lot too, but the Talking Heads, and I don't care what some people say. Weymouth is a fantastic bass player, so there, I said it. This has got my favorite track of the Talking Heads, Psycho Killer. David Byrds still puts out some good music, and Tina and her husband as Tom Tom Club. I think they even have a new album out. I might be wrong about that. So these guys are still out there, still doing their thing, still doing good stuff. But when it was this incarnation, that was fantastic. Mr. Mark Ditch knows where I'm coming from on this. And we're going to start with the later incarnation. But this is, and I'm going to show two of the records because it really was two distinct bands. This is the second incarnation of the Byrds. They kind of broke up. Roger McGinn and Chris Hillman were still there. Graham Parsons had joined Clarence and that B-Bender. This is Sweetheart of the Rodeo. You ain't going nowhere. What else is there to say about this? And when they were first out and about, when they had Gene Clark and David Crosby, you can't go wrong with this incarnation of the Byrds either. This is Mr. Tambourine Man. And Dylan visits the Byrds in an in-person performance. So, just fantastic group. That jangly guitar, great stuff. This is a group maybe some of you guys aren't quite as aware of. And forgive the priority sticker. I'm going to take it out of the thing so I'm sure the priority sticker on the sleeve. This is the Creation. Creation kind of had two distinct groups as well. You had the early days with Kenny Pickett and Eddie Phelps. Eddie Phelps, fantastic guitar player. I believe he was the first one to use a bow on guitar. Some people might be familiar with the song "Making Time." It's been in several commercials, like for Target and the car company of late. And then after Kenny left the group, the bass player, and I always forget his name, and I shouldn't. Maybe it's on the back here because I'm sure he wrote some of these too. Stereo previously unreleased, blah 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 blah. Well, it doesn't matter. Hey, she'll tell me to produce these guys too, but I'm drawing a blank on his name. Bob something. I know it's Bob. Anyhow, Creation. Making Time. But my favorite track that they do is they cover. I have to find it here. It's I'm a Man's not bad, but That's How Strong My Love Is. It's an outstanding cover. The Creation, great band. I'm a huge fan of early Steve Winwood. Traffic, Spencer Davis Group. That's where it's at for me with Mr. Steve Winwood, with his brother Muff, and of course with Spencer Davis. This has got the big hit, I'm a Man on it, but this is some fantastic soul rock. This is root stuff right here. This is beautiful, brilliant music. Love that album. This is a little bit more mainstream, and this is a UK pressing of Aftermath, so this does not have the hit Paint It Black, but love the Rolling Stones. Got all their records. Also, in my mind, there are two different groups. You've got the Brian Jones era, which is my favorite era, the most maligned and my favorite Rolling Stone. He's a bad person, probably. Don't know that. You know, from what you hear about him, he was not that well liked. But that era, when they were more incorporating more blues into their act, a huge fan. And then later, when he was fired and he was replaced by people whose names I shall not mention, I don't like the group as much. Some of their stuff. Got to keep going here. Dave Aguiar and Mark Loomis, Chocolate Watch Band. This era of the Chocolate Watch Band. This is an original too on Tower. These guys, some serious. Ed Cobb produced them and the Standells. Terrific garage rock. Got to hurry here because I can only do videos for 15 minutes, so I got to get to the end of this. I show these. I pulled 3 records because these guys were mostly known for the big 3 guitar players. This is more like the Jeff Beck era here. Here we've got the Eric Clapton era. This is like a 69 reissue. That is not the 64 3 regular issue, but still it's an early reissue. And this is the Jimmy Page era with the Yardbirds. But you know what all 3 had in common? Keith Ralph. Fantastic harmonica player. Outstanding. Okay, getting towards the end here. Doors. Everybody loves the Doors. Gateway band. And this has my all-time favorite track, When the Music's Over. Just a terrific, I mean, it's more than Jim Morrison. It's Ray, it's Robbie, it's John Densmore. These guys with a complete package. Outstanding. Next, local guys. And I'll show 2 records because one's my favorite and one's just one you don't see very often. This is Nirvana. This is Hormoning. It's an Australian tour album. It's listed as an original. I got it for dirt cheap. I think it's the repress. There were 2 pressings. It's the second pressing, which isn't as valuable. And then, of course, this is an original copy of Unplugged. And I just love the acoustic dumb. I mean, I like everything these guys did, but different because they kind of just said, "Oh, you want us to play the hits? Here, sit back while we play what we want to play," and people loved it. And this is what made Unplugged for MTV, I'm sure. That's right. I don't care what you think. I love me some Tom Jones. Delilah, outstanding. What an entertainer. The Welsh Elvis, must have. And his records are cheap, folks. Okay, so now we're getting to the top 2. Now, because Forever Changes is my favorite record, some people think it's my favorite band. They're my second favorite band. And I pulled their first album. This is this guy here, Snoop. He lives locally in the Olympia area. But this is Love's first album. It's got My Little Red Book on it. Everything they did. I think Love gets a little bit, people, if they've been willing to tour. If Arthur had been willing to tour, they'd been bigger. I think if they'd allowed Brian to have a bigger role in the band, I think that also would have helped too. As great as Arthur and Johnny are, Brian was like that third. I mean, it's really kind of the triumvirate of the 3, my opinion. Anyhow, Ken Forsey probably disagrees, but last, not least, my favorite all-time group, and 2 kind of eras of them, and these are both UK originals. Small Faces. This is on Decca, All or Nothing, all that good stuff. Just Steve Marriott, to me, his voice, especially in this incarnation of the group. I know he later went on to Humble Pie, which I don't as much care for. It's okay, but seriously, Steve Marriott, my favorite musician of all time. And then later they decided they left Decca. They went to Immediate. They became a little bit more psychedelic, and this one's an original too. But it's got some damage to the sleeve. But hey, it takes what you can find, and you can find UK originals of this group. This is more, like I said, more psychedelic in nature. It's got Green Circles on there, Up the Wooden Hills to Bedfordshire. Talk to You is a great track, but everything these guys did is just mind-blowing to me. Anyhow, that's it. My top 20. I'm going to get in barely under the wire, so this video will be able to post. Thanks, you guys, for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.